Yo, this is Art Tip Tuesday, the longer format one, and really what we're going to talk about is I guess, the pricing when it comes to large scale works, things like murals, and it's something that I've been dealing with, and a lot of people have been asking me questions on it in terms of, hey, what do you charge for mural, square footage price, things like that. And I stay away from square footage mainly because it's not really about square footage all the time. I mean, that plays a part in it, but it's more about the time, the money, the resources, and the effort that you really put into a project that kind of determines the cost. So like the time, how much time is this going to take? When you have a huge wall, it can take longer than a smaller wall, but at the same time, if the composition is detailed and, the wall is very difficult to kind of reach, it could take a lot of time to kind of complete a project like that. So, something that's really horizontal where it's tall, and you're using a ladder to go up and down, that's going to take a lot longer than a wall that's really short, I'd say horizontal, and basically you're able to kind of reach everything without a ladder. So, it's like, okay, you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, this is how much time it's going to take me to kind of go up and down a ladder or a lift versus like just staying on the ground on my feet and actually completing the mural. And then how complex is that image that you're kind of trying to put on the wall, or some object you're trying to attach to the wall, things like that. So the time is really important when you're thinking about pricing, the money involved. So how much paint is this going to take? Is my design really simple? Is it like just a black and white design? Is it something where I have all the paints on me at that time, or in my studio at that time, or do I have to go out and actually purchase extra paint? What type of equipment do I need to buy in terms of this project? I had a project where it was a large scale mural, and rather than having a flat wall to work with, where I could use rollers, it was shingles. And basically, you can't really use a roller on shingles on the siding of the wall. So I had to kind of purchase and learn how to use a sprayer. That right there is a big difference when it comes to pricing, because now I have to buy a sprayer, and it's going to take me a lot more time and effort to kind of really learn the sprayer, and there's this learning curve that is involved with that right there. The effort that it takes to kind of really put into a project. So the effort in terms of, okay, how much effort am I going to put into the design? Do I need to go back and forth with the client? Is this something where I have creative freedom, or is it something where the design is somewhat kind of dictated already, or it's like a compromise with the client type of thing? How much effort is this project going to take? Things like that. And then you also have resources. So the type of resources you have to provide. Does this project really require a permit? Does this project require me to get general liabilities insurance? Things like that. So everything that is involved really dictates the price. So whenever you're thinking about doing a mural or a large scale project like that, you really need to kind of drill down and figure out what is it going to take to complete that project. So the time, the money, the effort, the resources, something as small as the texture of the wall can really change how you go about completing the mural. So, if it's like a rough texture, oh, do I have to kind of now think about spray paint because, using small brushes won't work, versus something that's a smooth wall, where you can use brushes, you can use a bunch of different tools at hand. Or even if it's something where the wall is inside versus outside. Inside, you're not thinking about the weather. When you're outside, you have to think about the weather, and then is it wintertime or is it summertime? So do I want to be outside 12 noon on the middle of July in Arizona type of thing? Or, do I have to kind of reschedule a lot of stuff to kind of complete the mural? When can I work on the mural? Is this a wall that's in a business where, I don't have a key all the time? I have to kind of do it during working hours. So everything that is involved when it comes to creating a mural and completing a project, you have to think about whenever you're doing pricing, because you don't want to be in the middle of the project and get frustrated that all these little things are coming up, and you base it off of square footage, and now you feel like you're stuck. So really, really, really drill down whenever you're approached with a project, and actually think about the time, money, resources, and effort that will be involved when you're trying to complete that project. And over time, when you have a style, you start to really, I'd say, understand better the time, money, resources, and effort whenever you're looking at different walls in different situations. So if someone approaches me with one wall, I kind of know exactly what it's going to take. And if someone approaches me with a wall outside, I know exactly, the process and how I'm going to go about that process if I take on that project. And then, I can kind of come up with a pricing strategy for that. So really think about those different elements whenever you're thinking about doing a mural or taking on a large scale project. Peace.